Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we are going to be doing an awesome deck profile of my familiar possessed deck. Yes, my familiar possessed deck. Now, I actually did a familiar possessed deck profile a long time ago before the structure deck came out, and I did it I think once or twice, and when the structure deck got announced about a long time ago now actually, I was so excited. And so I've been playing this deck on the side, trying to find out a build I wanted to build it with, playing with different versions, different ratios of cards, because the thing you have to understand is you can build your familiar possessed deck really differently when it comes to the 1850 attack monsters. So when it comes to these ladies, they're 1850, you could run more of a wind version, you could run more of an earth version, a light version, a dark version, a fire version. There's a ton of different ways you can build it in that aspect. Me, I want to take the approach of I'm running a lot of the different elements just because I wanted to do that way, but I didn't want it to be impeding upon my deck and how it functioned. And I found the good, healthy balance that worked for me, and I'll just be honest with you, you can run what familiar possessed ladies you want to, and I think the ratio is pretty good at what I'm running at, but you can run them, whatever you want when it comes to that. But let us get into the deck profile. I hope that makes sense, because a lot of people, they'll run more of the wind. They'll run, 3 wind and 3 water because that's what they like. Or they'll run this and that because that's what they like. So this is the ratio I'm running. I'm running 2 wind, the wind familiar possessed. I really like her artwork, so that's why I'm running her as well. 2 familiar possessed Hayate. I love her artwork as well. And then I'm running 2 familiar possessed Eerie. So these are the familiar possessed that I'm running as 2-ofs in my deck. I wanted to run these as the 2-ofs. I was debating about running Asa, the Earth one, as a 2-of, but I'm just running her as a 1-of. But I find that, this, you want to run a couple of the familiar possessed as either doubles or triples. I like doubles because it just, changes up the variation of, familiar possessed in your deck for certain cards when you're trying to, bring a different familiar possessed out, like with things maybe with unpossessed, etc. But I run these here, and then I run some of the 1-ofs, which I'll put down below here, guys. I'm running one of the Earth one, Asa, which looks like is like literally the incarnation of a nerd anime lady, 1 Lily, and 1 Darak. So in total, I found that if I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 familiar possessed monsters, that was good. 8 to 9 I found was the key number, because a lot of people I saw, they were just running 3 and 3, and when I was doing that, I wasn't seeing enough familiar possessed, so I was like, I need to run more. So I found that if I run 8 to 9, that worked out pretty well. So as you can see here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 8 to 9 is usually the ratio I like for my familiar possessed. It's up to you to decide. If I was to maybe change things out, maybe I'd take out a Drak because I don't really have any more darks, and I replace it with another Asa. I mean, I'm debating these things, like I said. But for the most part, this is what I like. This is what's been working out for me, and I've been pretty fine with it. I like the water one because it allows me to run Abyss Dweller. The fire one I just like because of artwork. The wind one works really well with certain cards, which is kind of cool. But yeah, this is pretty much the ratio I'm running. What is my favorite? It's definitely Eerie. Eerie's my favorite. I love blue hair, but I also love my green hair and redheads. So I can't decide. But water is probably going to be my favorite Eerie. I'm just being honest. Blue hair. Next up for your familiar possessed, buddies, we run 2 Riri, 2 Gigabyte, and 2 Eater of Nefariousness. So I'll put that up here. So let me scoot this over for you guys. So these are the ones I'm running. I've seen, again, people run different ratios when it comes to their familiar possessed. They run different ratios of these guys. They really do. Me personally, this is what I've been running. It's been working out for me. I don't like running 3 Nefarious because it can, Ruri is really good. And I want to run 2 because I'm running the Wind Big Boy Charmer. And Gigabyte I want to run as a 2-of because it's really nice and it really helps facilitate Abyss Dweller, which can hurt a lot of decks. Which is really nice in turn. So it's a great reason to run it as well. So again, you can run what you want to. I know some people like the fire, familiar possessed charmer, one. You can run that. I don't think we got the light one yet, or the dark one, but this is what I'm running. This has been working for me, and I've been pretty good with it so far. I think that these effects are pretty good overall, so that's why I'm running these. So that's for the the side deck ones, and then we got the two big ones, which is the Awakening of the Possessed Regenie and Awakening of the Possessed Archfiend. These are the two I like running. I don't think I've seen some people run 3 of, and I don't think that's great. The fire one is really good. I will give you that because it can do burn damage, which is really great. And I've seen people run that on top of Gaga Cowboy, and then they can just burn people for game with a lot of life points very quickly. That is an option. But I'm not running a lot of the fires, so I decided not to go down that route. Because I was debating between Gigobite and the fire. I was like, Gigobite helps me with Abyss Dweller. I'm going to go with that. So saying that, you can run that one. The wind one is very nice, and this one's good, pretty good. Some people like the water one. That's okay. The big version of Gigobite. It's up to you to run what you want to run, but these are the two I find the best usage out of, and I'm running them. So that's just me. We also run, I think this is pretty much where we get into the part of the deck, guys, where it's pretty staple what you're running and the ratios. So all that other stuff, different people run different ratios and run different versions because of the familiar possessed deck they're trying to build, etc. When you get to this part of the deck profile, this is where I find that this is pretty staple. We run 3 Fairy Tale Lunar. This is staple in every familiar possessed deck. It's technically a familiar possessed monster without the name because it's going to search out all your familiar possessed. Granted, I understand you saying, hey, I thought you were running 9 and you got a lot of normal summonable monsters. I get that, but this is a really good card as well to run in the deck because it helps search things out, because you will get hands I've had where after a turn or so, I don't have any familiar possessed monsters in my hand. Or sometimes I've had hands where I don't draw them, and I'm just like, fudge, I didn't get to any of my 9 familiar possessed. So I'm being honest with you. You think 9's a lot, 8 to 9's a lot. Try playing with it in real life. I find that it's not. It's sometimes it's not a perfect science, but believe me, I've had experience. Next, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. You can run whatever you want to here. I want Ash Blossom for hand traps. I wanted to make this deck somewhat control-y. I mean, not full-on control, but more of have a little bit of a stun aspect to it, quote-unquote. So that's why you're going to see things like Ash Blossom and Infinite Impermanence. Because in combination with a lot of your other, familiar possessed cards, etc., it works out really well to give this deck a little bit of a stun aspect, which can help you out. So 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. 3 Awakening of the Possessed. This card is so... I love the artwork of this card, but I find that it's a staple 3 of for the most part when it comes to familiar possessed. I was debating, especially things like with the Awakening of the Possessed, as well as Spirit Charmers, which is a great searcher for the deck as well. I was debating if I wanted to run 2 or 3 of these cards here. In all honesty, I was really debating that because I was like, do I want 2 of these? Well, do I want 3 of these? What should I do? And from playtesting and just doing a lot of trying things out, working things out, I found that I like 3 and 3 because it was just very good to see them sooner and get things rolling. Like Spirit Charmer, I used to run that card as a 2 of when the structure deck first came out. Now going forward, I've been running it as a 3 of, and I haven't looked back because it's actually a really good card for setting things up and getting plays going. And it's a great searcher, but it's taken time to me to understand that. So, like I said, 3 and 3 is what I've been running. It's been working out well for me. I'm not going to go into too much detail because this deck has been out for a while now. Next we have Grand Spiritual Art Shin. Now, depending upon how you're building your familiar possessed deck, again, if you're focusing on the little ones that have the 500 attack and 1500 defense, then you're going to be running this card as a 3 of in your familiar possessed deck. I think that's pretty much a given. But because we're not running those and we're mainly focusing on the 1850 bodies, I find that this card is good because it can, negate stuff, but not amazing. So I like it as a 1 of in the deck, as a 2 of in the deck. It's easily searchable. You can easily get to it. You have enough ways of getting to these cards, I find, pretty well. So I like the card as a 2 of, pretty much, is what I'm trying to say. Great card, but I want to run other cards instead. So just a 2 of because I'm not focusing on a lot of the other stuff. I'm just using it as a stun negator. One Monster Reborn, you will have a lot of materials engraved that you can bring back, do things with, and have a very good time. Being honest there. Next up, we run 3 Possessed Partnership. Some people like this card as a 3 of. Some people like this card as a 2 of. It's really, really up to you at the end of the day, guys. I'm being honest. But I like this card as a 3 of in the deck, and it's worked out pretty well for me. And then lastly, 2 Unpossessed. Again, some people don't like this card. They think it's outdated. I still find it very useful, and I like it as a 2 of in the deck, and it's worked out pretty well for me. So, 2 Unpossessed, really good card. I'm happy they made this a super rare in a OTS pack a couple packs ago. And lastly, I'm running 3 Infinite Impermanence, guys. I wanted Infinite Impermanence, again, for that stun, that negation, just to stop you from doing things. So I do like Infinite Impermanence in the deck. You can run other things, like the Ash Blossoms and the Infinite Impermanence. If you were taking this into a tournament, you can side deck them in and out. You are going second, maybe you run Tactics Talents, things of this nature. It really just depends. So on to the extra deck now, guys. We run our Field Center. I thought she was appropriate to run in this deck, by the way. We run the Water Charmer, the Gentle Water Charmer, the Illustrious Light Charmer. I'll put her right there. We run the Wind Charmer. We run the Earth Charmer and the Fire Charmer. So we're pretty much running a majority of the Charmers. I found that first I was only running like 2 to 3 of these, and then for more playtesting I've been running more of them, and I think that's the best idea to do. So these are the Charmers I'm running, and then I'm running some generic Link stuff as well, guys. I'm running Phoenix, I'm running Cerberus, I'm running Unicorn, and I'm running Axis Kotarker. Now, you could fit other cards in the deck, maybe IP Masquerena, that is a thing you could just throw in here, but I want to make room for more of the Charmers, because they've been putting in more work, so that's up to you to decide. Then I'm running some basic generic level 4s, because we have a lot of ways of making generic rank 4s. Bagasucha, Tornado Dragon, Abyss Dweller, which I've been alluding to, number 60, the Timeless, Castell, and Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, lastly. So that's the deck in a nutshell, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Like I said, you have a lot of different ways of building this deck when it comes to the main deck, depending upon your preference, depending upon how you want to play it. I know you could maybe make this deck a little bit more optimal, but this is what I've been running, and it's been working out pretty well for me. And I do plan in the near future, guys, to be working on some more of the pretty much old structure decks that have come out over the last year or so, because I've been meaning to get to them, but I've just been super busy. But I hope you guys all enjoy this familiar Possessed deck. Like I said, I really, really do love this deck to pieces. I think it's an awesome deck that is super fun to play around with and super fun to play. And until next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling to all of you, and go familiar Possessed. Take care, everybody.